Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, look at this book, Atomic Habits, the holy grail of self-improvement, millions of copies sold, the Bible for the modern productivity junkie. The promise? Seductively simple. Tiny changes, remarkable results. Get 1% better every day, and the math says you'll be 37 times better by the end of the year. It sounds perfect, it sounds logical, it sounds scientific. But I'm here today to tell you something uncomfortable. This book, while useful, is built on a fundamental misunderstanding of human biology, of chaos, of what it actually means to be human. I spent 6 months living by this book, religiously. I tracked my habits, stacked them, redesigned my environment. I chased that golden 1%. And here's what I discovered. I didn't become 37 times better. I became a robot, a neurotic, data-obsessed, an automaton that optimized the joy out of life. Today, on Read and Tested, we're not just reviewing a book, we're putting Atomic Habits on trial. I'm going to cross-examine JamesClear's core philosophy, and I'm going to argue that for many of you, this book isn't the solution. It's a trap. The prosecution is ready. Let's begin. JamesClear makes a strong case. He breaks habits down into 4 simple laws. Make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. He tells the story of British cycling, a team stuck in mediocrity until they chased 1% improvements, better pillows, better gel, cleaner hands, and suddenly, world domination. Clear calls habits the compound interest of self-improvement. We obsess over big moments and ignore the small ones. You don't rise to the level of your goals, he says. You fall to the level of your systems. That's the popular view, and yes, it's useful. If you want to floss, this book works. If you want to drink more water, this book works. But let's be honest, you're not here to learn how to floss. You're here because you want a transformative life. And this is where the prosecution introduces Exhibit A, the fallacy of linear compounding. Let's talk about the most famous graph in the book. You've seen it. A smooth curve shooting upward. The math is simple. 1.01 to the power of 365, 37.78. Get 1% better every day, and you're 37 times better in a year. I object. This is a massive oversimplification. It treats biology like an engineering system. And that's the flaw. Humans aren't machines. Biology has ceilings. Biology has entropy. Biology has injury. I tested this with running. I started at a 10-minute mile. Every run, I aimed for 1% better. Pace, distance, habits compound. Right? By month 3, I wasn't 37 times faster. I had shin splints. I hit a plateau. This is diminishing returns. Early gains come fast. But the book quietly implies an endless upward curve. Stick to the system, and success is inevitable. Now look again at British cycling. Dave Brailsford pushed 1% improvements everywhere. But here's what gets skipped. These athletes were already elite. Genetic outliers. Fully funded. No other job but to train. That's survivorship bias. We hear their story because they won. We don't hear about the teams that optimized everything. Pillows, hand washing, nutrition, and still lost because they lacked funding. Or freak genetics. I ran this experiment in my own life too. Optimizing work output by 1% a day. I didn't become a billionaire. I became stressed, obsessed with an arbitrary metric. The 1% better idea assumes a vacuum. But life isn't a lab. Your kid gets sick. Your car breaks down. You get the flu. Some days you don't slip back 1%. You drop 10. Not because of bad habits, but because life happened. The book says your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits. I disagree. Sometimes your outcomes lag your luck, your privilege, the chaos of the universe. Telling someone their net worth is just a lagging measure of financial habits ignores wages, macroeconomics, systemic constraints. It's a lawyer-like argument, one that places all responsibility on the individual and quietly absolves the environment you cannot control. Let's talk about the psychological cost. The third law, make it easy. The goal, automate your life. Clear says, the ultimate purpose of habits is to solve life's problems with as little effort as possible. He praises habits becoming mindless, so I tested it. 2 months. Fully automated mornings. Alarm at 6, phone in the other room. Workout clothes laid out, coffee machine preset. It worked. I did the things. But here's the objection. A life on autopilot is a life unlived. When everything becomes stimulus and response. Cue, craving, response, reward. We're training ourselves like Pavlov's dogs. During the experiment, I moved through my mornings without consciousness. Efficient? Yes. Present? No. Clear says habits free mental space, that they create freedom. I felt the opposite. The more I stacked my day, after coffee, meditate after meditate, right, the more I felt like a passenger inside my own body. There's a danger in optimizing efficiency over experience. The book praises the law of least effort. Choose the path that requires the least work. So let me ask you, are the most meaningful things in your life easy? Did you fall in love because it was frictionless? Did you build something great by sanding off every rough edge? Of course not. Meaning lives in friction, in struggle. By trying to make every good habit easy, we risk flattening life into a checklist. I felt this most with writing. I used the 2-minute rule. Just write for 2 minutes. I kept the streak alive, didn't break the chain. But what I produced? Garbage. I wasn't writing to say something. I was writing to satisfy the system. I was serving the habit. The habit wasn't serving me. Now let's move to the deepest layer, and maybe the most dangerous one. Identity-based habits. Clear says, the ultimate form of intrinsic motivation is when a habit becomes part of your identity. Don't say, I want to run. Say, I am a runner. Don't say, I want to quit smoking. Say, I am not a smoker. It's powerful. I agree. So I tested it. I adopted the identity. I am a productive creator. Every edited video was a vote for that identity, exactly as the book instructs. And here's what I discovered. The dark side. Identity rigidity. When your habits become your identity, what happens when you fail? Because you will fail. When I got sick and couldn't produce for a week, I didn't just miss work. I lost myself. If I am a runner and I break my leg, who am I then? Nothing. That's the danger. When habits fuse with the ego, failure stops being data. It becomes an identity crisis. Clear says, your behaviors are a reflection of your identity. So if I act lazy today, does that mean I am lazy? Miss one workout, it's no longer a lapse. It's a betrayal of self. That's how shame creeps in. The book briefly mentions flexibility, the Tao Te Ching, but only in passing. The real push is to harden habits into who you are. I argue we should do the opposite. Habits are tools. You pick them up, you put them down. They are not your soul. You are not your habits. You are the awareness watching them. So, do we burn the book? No. Atomic Habits is a masterpiece of tactics, but it's a manual for mechanics, not a philosophy for living. Here's the synthesis. The middle path I found the hard way. Use Atomic Habits for hygiene, not for art. Use it for the basement of your life, not the ceiling. If you want to brush your teeth, save money, do the dishes, use the 4 laws. Make it obvious, attractive, easy, satisfying, automate the boring stuff. For maintenance, this book is perfect. But for the things that actually matter, your relationships, your deep work, your passions, don't optimize them into 2-minute units. Don't try to 1% them. These things need obsession, not consistency. They need friction, not ease. Clear says, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Here's my counter. A system without a burning goal is a hamster wheel. You need chaos, you need ambition, you need something a little irrational. The system, it just keeps the lights on, so you can do the messy work of being human. In conclusion, James Clear is right about how the brain works, but he's wrong about how the soul works. He's given us an excellent operating manual for our biological hardware. Just don't confuse that with a guide to a meaningful life. I tested 3 ideas from this book. I automated my chores. That was a win. I tried to compound fitness in a straight line. That failed. And I tied my habits to my identity. That one almost broke me when I slipped. So, is this book worth reading? Yes. But read it like a lawyer. Take the tactics that serve you. Reject the philosophy that tries to turn you into a compounding interest machine. Now I want to hear from the jury. Have you tried Atomic Habits? Did you feel truly better? Or just better at checking boxes? Leave your verdict in the comments. This is Read and Tested. See you next time.